Hi guys, welcome to the live stream. Apologies. Yes, I already saw in the comments we did have technical issues. I'm sorry. I had technical issues, so I apologize again. Second week in a row. It's not the way we do things, to be honest. So I feel bad, but hopefully we can make it a nice show. Be a bit engaged with you guys as well, because we have a lot to talk about, guys. Last week we were talking about Knutsen, and a week later we have Maurice Steijn. So this is going to be very interesting. We have 4 panels even, not 3, but 4. Kabir really wanted to be here, and also maybe, clarify what he said last week about Solskjaer. Maybe. No. So we'll see.
What?
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. Welcome, guys. Good evening, all of you. Yellan, thank you for being here. Yaiderenko, always nice to have you. Sahbi, Kabir. Guys, so let's just dive right in, right? Sunday, we heard the news. We read the news. What was your first impression? Like, really, what was your first impression when you read it? And now, a few days later, today, after the press conference, everything is official now. What's the feeling that you have right now? And I want one answer on the question. Is this a clever pick by Mislintat, or is this a gamble? So I only want to know, is the gamble or a clever pick? And we'll talk about it later in the show. Let me start with Sahbi.
Yeah, I think all the panels will most likely say that they were shocked. Because, I was shocked when I heard Steijn was on the list. Not even contracted, but he was in pole position. I was a bit flabbergasted. Didn't know how to digest this information. But for me, it's clearly a gamble. A gamble,
all right.
It's a gamble. That can turn out in a genius thing, but it's a gamble.
We'll come to that in a bit. Kabir, what about you, man?
Oh, it's a big gamble. Big gamble.
Big gamble. What did you think Sunday when you heard the news? The first thing that came up.
Disappointed. To be honest with you, it was put in one of the WhatsApp groups that I'm in. And I thought it was like someone had edited. You can edit newspaper articles to make it seem like it's real. I thought someone was doing it for a joke. I was shocked. I don't think Maurice Steijn didn't even come up in my wildest dreams. So, shocked, disappointed. To be honest with you, like Sam said, flabbergasted, really. And I still am. So yeah, to answer your question, gamble, massive gamble.
I thought we would start a little bit more positive, to be honest. But okay, let me go to Yellan. Maybe Yellan can cheer us up a little bit. Yellan, what was your feeling after you heard the news? What do you think now? Is the gamble or is the clever pick?
My feeling is that it surprised me to start off very, very much. But then immediately I was a bit enthusiastic about the pick because I remember him being well thought of and well spoken of when he was at VVV and at Sparta, of course. But to answer the question, it's a gamble. But I'm not too hurt by it.
All right. So you're okay with it?
A bit optimistic.
A bit optimistic. Okay. So if we want to go full optimism, we have to go to Yaiderenko, right? We all know that. Right, Yaiderenko?
I think it's a genius move. I think it's genius. No, it's just a continuation of a shit show. It's the example of a gamble in my book. Yeah.
All right, but guys, listen. I have people coming on the show, and they're expecting some, positive feelings. Us coming and explaining why Maurice Steijn could be a very good coach signing. And now I'm sitting here after 5 minutes, and all of you are negative. All right, we have one person that's a bit optimistic, but you guys are all negative. Let's talk about it. Why are you guys so negative? Let me start.
Sorry. Just to start with, I'm not negative. I was surprised, shocked. Was this a name that came into your, which was on your list?
Listen, man, I'm
your
asking
top 5, your top 10.
I'm asking the questions here, so
no. But you're stating like it's not a shocking thing. I think
even Maurice was surprised.
Of
So-
course.
Yeah, that should say enough. I mean, 99% of all the fans were shocked, surprised by this move. So yeah, we need to digest, to accept the thing that we have to see Steijn as a coach. And then we saw the press conference, and of course, after that, you can have a bit of a feeling what kind of coach it is. You can do some background checks. You can see the gameplay of Sparta and VVV and so on. But if you look at Maurice Steijn on itself as a standalone, I mean, if you weren't shocked, then I don't know.
Yeah, okay, but okay, moving away from the shock, I think everybody
Yeah.
was shocked. Everybody was like, "Is this real? This cannot be real," etc.
Exactly.
Because also we were a little bit, like wrong-footed. Basically, in recent weeks, we all thought we would get like somebody from outside, maybe a coach from abroad, Knudsen, the guy from Denmark, whoever. So, and then we come to Steijn, right? And Peter Bos goes to PSV at the same time. It's like right after each other, basically. Look, okay, so moving past the first time that you heard about Steijn, you already alluded to that, Sahbi, yesterday, the press conference. Sven got questions, Maurice got questions. They answered the questions. What's the feeling now? I mean, do you understand now why Maurice Steijn is appointed? And do you agree why he was appointed based on the information that we were told? Sahbi, you can take it.
Yeah, I mean, when I looked at the press conference, I felt definitely a bit more optimistic because Sven explained the profile that he was seeking, and how that fits the profile of Steijn. So okay, that if you look at theory, it's a bit odd. I mean, it had to be someone who is overperforming. It had to be somebody who's coming from a smaller club, not somebody who's coming from a bigger league or top club and so on. He mentioned that he wants to have a coach that was doing a good job at the right time, a team player, a player who can create character on the pitch, and that's basically something that we really missed. Besides the way we played, also the mentality last season, the way that we have to fight for each other. I missed that a lot last season. Even if the football wasn't great, in normal circumstances, we should have won games based on fighting spirit, and maybe he can bring that back to Ajax. So that gave me a bit of a positive vibe. But on paper, of course, that's a bit different. I have to see it. But I liked Steijn because he's humble as well. He came over as an humble person who is open, direct, not trying to avoid answers on certain questions. That's something that I like as well. So we should give it a chance. And it's a gamble. Can be a genius thing from Sven. But just like Schreuder, it wasn't on my list. Schreuder, not at all. But you should give the coach time, and you should back the technical director and see where eventually we're getting to. But the main thing is we should not give him that much time as that we have given Schreuder. That's my take on this. But yeah, I'm more positive now.
Okay, Kabir, I'm moving to you, and I also want to include this comment from BRN. Shout out to everybody that's reacting. I'm looking at all the comments. From time to time, I will definitely give it to the panel so we can react to that. So, but are we shocked because of his qualities? So are we shocked because of Stijn's qualities? Or are we more shocked because it's not a big name, Kabir? Or is it something else for you, even?
No, I just think it's a super unimaginative and uninspiring hire, to be honest. It's underwhelming. We shouldn't forget that we are Ajax, the biggest club in Holland, one of the biggest clubs in Europe, and we come up with someone like Maurice Steijn. I mean, probably, to be honest, it's a bit of a reality check and a kick in the face that we are where we are as a club, that we can only attract someone like Maurice Steijn. Maybe that's the harsh reality of the situation. Because I know that Mislintat was saying that, there were 3 or 4 other people in the process as well, but Steijn was clearly the number one. So that leads me to think who the hell were the other coaches if someone like Maurice Steijn was the clear number one? So, yeah, I mean, look, yes, I think the disappointment initially was around the fact that he wasn't a big name. He isn't a big name. But I think also, if you look at the clubs that he's managed prior to Ajax, they're not big clubs. Whichever way you look at it, they're not big clubs. And, he's not a young guy. Why hasn't he managed a big club previously?
But Kabir, I would say to that, right? And this was something also that came up a couple of times in the interview. He got these questions as well. But if we look also in the past, Ten Hag didn't manage big clubs as a head coach. Bos, before coming to Ajax, didn't manage a big club. If you look at that, from the Boer straight away. These kind of things. Van Gaal, if we go even back further, there are coaches that weren't that big of a name at that time when they were appointed. I'm sorry?
Well, this
Marcel Keizer.
Marcel Keizer.
But then look how that worked out. I mean, the Erik ten Hag thing I don't necessarily buy, and I'll tell you why. He had a stint with the second team at Bayern Munich. He was in the staff at PSV. So those are already two top clubs that he has been in that environment. And also the club that he managed in Holland, FC Utrecht, is way bigger than any of the clubs that Steijn has managed in Holland. So I don't necessarily buy that argument. I think that Erik ten Hag already came with a lot more baggage in his managerial career and experience than Steijn has. It's as simple as that.
But Steijn, and this was also said by Sven, I'm trying to just give you like all these things that we're discussing right now. A lot of them were also discussed in the press conference. So I'm just giving it to you back, like what was going back and forth. Basically, Sven said he's been 20 years in professional football, Maurice Steijn, 10 years being a head coach. Yes, it's been ADO Den Haag, VVV, not Sparta. I know these are not the, like the clubs at the same level.
And 1 year in the UAE where he got sacked after a year.
I'm sorry?
He also 1 year in the UAE.
Yeah, exactly.
Sacked after a year, yeah.
Exactly. And he doesn't have any European campaign experience. I know all these kind of things.
After 4 games, not even
4 games. But you cannot compare that because in those countries, it's like really weird how they treat
exactly. That's what I want to say.
It's not really like even a thing. Sometimes they even
I agree.
Sometimes they don't get paid and then they just leave. So
not even that.
Not
they have so much money. They splash money. So if you don't win your first 2 games, it's already over. But
it's not even an issue. Yeah. For me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. So you're not buying it basically. That's what you're saying, Kabir.
I'm not buying it at all. And actually, put it on record right now here. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't last until the winter break. To be honest with you, I would not be surprised. Look, I want to be pleasantly surprised, but I'm putting my neck on the line here right now, and I'm saying I don't think he'll last till the winter break.
Why? Because he could. The main reason why he, in your view, cannot make it until past the winter break.
Yeah, I just think that unless and until you have the experience or you have been some sort of experience of being in a pressurized environment where you're actually, you're at a club where you have to win versus, it's nice if you have won. Do you know what I mean? And of course, there are going to be exceptional examples, but not everyone's a Louis van Gaal. Louis van Gaal left Ajax and ended up having a glittering career. One of the finest managers that has ever managed in the game of football. Not everyone, we can't sit here and say, Louis van Gaal made it, therefore, Maurice Steijn will, because it's the similar trajectory. No, I don't think so, because for every Louis van Gaal, there are probably hundreds of managers that failed. So I just don't see it. For him as well, he's probably thinking like he's won the lottery, right? Like it's something you just don't expect. He himself said he
did make that impression, to be honest.
Yeah, of course it is. In the press conference, he was like, "I was the first person that was surprised that they came to me."
To be fair, he said this year. That was his. He said,
"That's true.
I'm surprised this year."
That they came to me this year.
Yeah, and this probably alluded.
Yellan, are you suggesting that he thought Ajax would come earlier?
Yeah.
No, later, because Mislintat said that they were going to go for a foreign, like a coach from abroad. Yeah. That's why he said that he was surprised that they were coming this year.
Yeah,
as opposed to later on.
Later on this year, whatever it is. I mean, I just think that.
I mean,
I would emphasize the surprise instead of this year.
Yeah.
No, but with regards to Steijn, I mean, from Stein's perspective, everybody would accept this job, right? To go from Sparta to Ajax. So there's nothing to blame Stein for in any case.
No,
If you have to choose somebody, then it had to be Sven. But in my view, I trust the process. I think it's for me, it's just like the justice system: innocent until proven guilty. Let him do his job. Let him try to do his job. Give him some time, and we as fans are the jury, for example, and then we can decide later on what how he's done.
Feyenoord have extended with Slot. PSV have got Peter Bos, and we've got Maurice Steijn. I already think we're 2 or 3 steps behind.
No, okay, it can be. That's possible. That's possible. But if you talk about Slot was also a coach with who didn't have a real background. Look, he gave AZ.
He was at AZ Alkmaar, which is still a club.
As an assistant.
Yeah, but no, but
and he became a head coach by accident. It's because it's not they wanted him to become a head coach. It was just clear luck that he became a head coach. He did well, and from there on, it started going and going and going. So maybe it will happen as well with Stein. I'm not saying it will happen, but let's remain positive because it happened. He is the coach. There's nothing we can do about it. So let's back him and just say and just see how we will do. And the reason why I'm more positive is because of the news of Maduro coming in today as an assistant. That's I think Stein is more of a people manager trying to introduce the fighting spirit, a team effort, team building, and so on. But with Maduro, he is a master in analyzing games and so on. So maybe the combination of those two can make it work.
Maduro is an Ajax. As an Ajax fan, I love it. Maduro, the fact that he's doing great. But again, we have to put it into context. He was at Almere City, and he himself said when he was interviewed by Hans Kraaij Junior on the field, he goes, "Yeah, I might be linked with Ajax, but I'm still learning." So, we're talking about Maduro being the guy to, but he's also still learning. It's all very much in developmental phase, but that's not what this club needs now after the season we had last year.
Actually, to be honest, this is a very interesting point you're raising. If you look at it from that angle, you're absolutely right. Because even Sven, as a director of football, he has a lot of experience in football, but as a director of football, he is in development still. You can see also the way he presented himself in the press conference. Yes, everybody was blown away. He's very good with words, explaining everything. But the way he was thinking, the thought process was very much as a scout. He was signing a coach like he would sign a player. So he went through the whole, like from A to Z, like looking at everything, all the analytical approaches, etc., etc. Which, I'm sorry.
So.
No, I'm just saying. No, it's not so. I'm just saying, and that's the thing I'm saying is that Sven and looking at Maurice Steijn, even though he's experienced, he didn't manage a big club. Looking at Maduro, he's a development. Bakkati has experience, but still also like not very experienced. You can have more experienced people in the staff. So that's a good point from Kabir, in my opinion. That is fair point to bring to the argument. But Yellan, I'm sorry, man. We didn't have time to give you a moment. Go ahead, man. If you want to react to anyone, or you can also say what you think of this whole discussion about Maurice Steijn.
Of course, yeah. I think that as we are in transition and a rebuild, if you have a coach that is too rigid, that you also have no adaptability in a coach, and that can also backfire on the squad. We've seen it with coaches in the past who have their set ways of doing things. That could also backfire. So I'm not opposed to people learning and being in a learning environment, as long as they make enough strides within the short period of time that they're getting. So yes, I agree that it is at Ajax, so they need to perform right away. There is no room for a 3, 4, 5 years cycle of development. So they need to perform this year. But there are different levels to that, and I don't agree with giving him until Christmas and then sacking him if the results are bad, because this is a process that takes time. if you choose to go this route, you have to give them time. That's for one, but not too much time that we sacrifice another full season.
Can you give an example? So let's move back to previous season with Schreuder.
Yeah.
What do you think of how that went?
Yeah, but Schreuder was very rigid in what he was doing, and he wasn't communicating very well. From what I've seen from Steijn up until now in the press conferences, that he is a good communicator. And I think that his social skills will win over the squad, as opposed to Schreuder, which didn't have the social skills to win over the squad, and that caused friction. So when you have the support of your squad, there's also possibilities to grow together. And Schreuder didn't have that. He was too set in his ways, and he couldn't communicate what he wanted. He wasn't like Ten Hag, who was also had a likable likeness about him, and he was a likable character. So that is in favor of Steijn. But I've also read that at NAC that he was very bad in handling pressure situations, especially within the media, because they have a very vocal fan base, and he was very, poor in handling that. So that is one of my worries with Steijn, is that when he comes under pressure, let's see what he's made of then. Because giving a appraisal or here I am speech in a press conference is one thing, but handling the media after a defeat that he shouldn't have had, that's a whole other thing. So up until then, I give him the benefit of the doubt, and then we can see what he's made of when that happens.
All right.
So that's a point that you raised, which is a very valid point, that in an environment like Ajax, whatever pressure he might have felt at NAC, it's going to be tenfold, hundredfold. Mm-hmm. And if he's displayed if he's displayed those situations at NAC, what's to say that he'll all of a sudden be better in that situation in Ajax?
Yeah, I agree, but that's like from an outside perspective, and that's what you have at Ajax, like a fan base that is very vocal and very quick to judge. But I also hear you say that he played at clubs where it was nice to win instead of having to win. He also pulled Sparta from the relegation zone with 4 games to spare, and he ended up 14th. So he knows what it is to perform under pressure and to get the most out of a squad. So I'm not worried about him being able to get the most out of a squad in a pressure situation. I'm talking about what happens when the minority or the majority, whatever you want to call it, gets very critical. So because it's rarely good enough at Ajax for the supporters and for everyone that's Ajax. So I'm more worried about him handling that side than handling the actual game and the pressure inside the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thanks for that. You had to wait, Yaiderenko, but you can go, man. Tell us. Tell us why you're not happy, and you're all becoming red by the minute.
No, I was already red, so no problem.
Okay.
I think both Sven and Steijn made a really good impression on the press conference, how they handle things, how they handle questions. They had a good story, especially Sven had a good story, but it's bullshit. It's utter bullshit. Why is it bullshit? Because a few days before they were talking to Knudsen, then Knudsen communicated, I'm not going to do it. And then suddenly Steijn was in the picture, and a day or 2 days later, it was finalized.
So you don't buy that?
No, but that's one. But that's one.
Wait. So you don't wait. Just wait. So you don't buy the press conference what Sven was saying, that Maurice was, like, in the whole process clear of all the other candidates. That's what he said.
Yes. Yeah, true.
That's what he said. So you're saying it's not true.
Yeah.
You're saying it's not true.
Okay. If that's the case, why on earth would Knudsen communicate just before Ajax communicates that they're going for someone else? Then it would be the other way around, or later, or whatever. This just doesn't seem a solid decision. But that's how it's made. But if you look at the clean sheet, if you don't look at the gameplay, if you don't look at where he comes from, imagine this: everything he does at Ajax will be new for him. The way the pressure is built, the way they talk to him, the way the press is talking to them, the way people are cheering for him or not cheering for him, the way players are interacting with him. International press is coming there with the Europa League. So everything is going to be new on level or on something else, but it's going to be a total new experience. Everything. Not one thing, everything. And then you have Bakkati. Same thing. Exactly the same thing. And then you have Maduro, who has an Ajax background, but he has the same thing. So you have all newbies who's going to experience everything for the first time, and they have to get it right immediately. They're not going to get until Christmas to get results. No way. If they draw the first 2 games, the pressure is on. The
In a
pressure
big way.
is on.
Yeah.
And if you say to if you say to Ajax fans, I'm looking for an overperformer, I'm looking for someone who can communicate well, I'm looking for someone who is solid and easygoing. Why on earth didn't you look at Grim? He's an Ajax man. He has the pressure from the Europa Cup in the past, so he knows a little bit how it is. He overperformed at RKC. He overperformed at various clubs. He plays a little bit of the Ajax game without the players. So I'm not saying that you have to go for him, but it's really strange that you end up with Steijn, in my opinion, if you have Grim sitting at home and being maybe the ideal candidate if you're choosing a Dutch guy.
Okay.
For Ajax.
Yeah, good points. Look, I know you guys want to react, and I want to react to Yaiderenko as well, but I have to give time to the comments as well. Let's go through the comments, and then we'll resume with the conversation. I'm going to pull up a couple of comments that were given by the viewers. Thank you for that. Let's start with nickname. Thank you for leaving a comment. Maurice Steijn is like boiled potatoes for dinner. Old school Dutch, great base to build on, but bland on its own and nothing to get excited about. That's one way of looking at it.
I like that. That's a good comment.
Mention Roy. He makes a valid point. I didn't take Jon because he doesn't. Okay.
Hold up. I'll get there. I have to go back. For the comments. Just a minute. Lozocon, thank you for that. I know one person who's more mad than us. Ajax, Ron Jans. That guy did pretty F-word good at many clubs, even at Twente, which has decent big stadium. He never got a chance at the top. Well, look, the only thing I would say to that is Sven said there were 4 candidates. We know John was one, Maurice was one, the other 2 we don't know. He said no, the Danish coach and Knudsen were not, on the list. I don't know.
Of course they were on the list.
I'm sorry?
No, but
Knudsen was
on
the short list. Sorry.
Of course they were on the list.
No,
there was a long list and a short list and whatever.
True.
For Jans, it's quite clear for Jans because he mentioned that he wants to retire after Twente. So that wasn't an option at all for Ajax.
What are you gonna do when Ajax knocks?
Yeah, I don't.
It was already rumored. It was already rumored. Like, what if Ajax comes because they need a coach? And he mentioned that it's done after Twente. I don't want to be a coach anymore. So he literally said that. He can always change his mind
He wants more salary.
afterwards, but
Dick
that's one of the reasons.
Advocaat also said that this is the last club that he's going to manage. How many times now? 15 times in a row?
Yeah, but Dick was
man.
following money all the time.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys, let me continue just a minute. Keith, thank you for your comment as well. I would like to touch again about the Ajax DNA topic. How important Ajax DNA more than any football result? If we care about results, why not support Manchester City or Madrid instead? Ajax DNA, what makes us Ajax? I'll come to that because that's one of the things that I wanted to drop in the conversation as well. Let me see. What else do we have? Danny's saying it's a huge gamble. So reacting to what we talked previously. Dwight is not happy. As a club, we basically hit rock bottom. And we all talked about that Ajax had to start from the beginning again. This is the first step on how you start from scratch with this type of coach. This is something that I wanted to allude to. Thank you for making that comment. I will come to that in a bit. Here we go. We have Jim Goes Fishing. Steijn is a coach who has overperformed with a few teams. He also managed to get a demoralized team back on track. So, these are all on his resume, right? What's being said here. It is just me. Is it just me? Thank you for your comment. Evening, everyone. The negativity about Stijn's appointment is cruel. He may have been chosen for financial reasons. Maybe. We don't know. Especially as a club, not in Champions League. Okay.
Partly.
Interesting. Okay. That's a different dimension to looking at it. Let's see. What else do we have? We can mention. So BRN is saying, if you look at our current squad and what they lack besides quality, don't you think Steijn would complement our squad very well, together with a tactician with modern influence like Maduro? This is like people are saying all the things that I want to bring up a little bit to you guys. Also saying, BRN is also saying his teams were praised for the fitness levels and mentality, which maybe we needed this squad as well.
Maybe.
Yeah, we have to. So, Yaiderenko, you said I had to look at Roy. Roy is saying, I've had it confirmed that talks with Steijn have been going for the said 5 weeks, which was mentioned in a press conference yesterday. So,
which wasn't the post from Roy I meant. But
this is not the one you meant. Okay. I'm still scrolling down. Just a minute.
But that could still very much be true. But he wouldn't be number one. He jumped to number one once the other ones said they weren't going to do it. In my opinion.
By way of default, basically.
Sorry?
By way of default, like he jumped. I know what you're saying, because everyone else fell off. He then automatically goes to number one.
That's my guess. That's my best guess.
Yeah. I think that's 100% correct.
Of course that happens. Come on.
I don't think you start a process for a new Ajax manager and have Maurice Steijn as your poll target. That is unbelievable.
He's just saying that he was number one just to give him a good feeling, just as much as he was not telling the other guys who didn't want to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what always happens. So that's no surprise.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And it's good that he does that. And that's formal, very nice. But it's bullshit.
Okay.
Of course.
All right. Just a minute. I'm not done with the comments yet, guys. Just quickly. So some short comments quickly. Seb, lol, the Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper. Grim is a bad choice too, in my opinion. Roy is saying, if you go for Grim, you should have gone for Jonk. Is that the one that you were referring to?
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you have to go for Jonk or for Grim. I would go for Gallardo. But if you go for a Dutch guy, why isn't Grim on the list? Why isn't Jonk on the list?
Maybe they were in the long list. We don't know.
Then why did you choose Steijn?
I will come to that in a bit as well. Seb is saying, I think most of us were hoping for Bos.
Yeah.
And also Remy is saying, Bos was carried by that team, though. The players were great. I think he's referring to 16-17. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. I don't agree, to be honest. But okay.
Why not?
I'm sorry?
Why not?
That Bos was carried by that team? No, because that team was very young. And he had to put the pieces together by himself, like putting Schöne as a 6, which was something that Bos did. Ziyech was actually, we criticized the fact, we know that Ziyech was a very good player, but he was criticized at Twente because he never defended. So we didn't know whether he would be in the team. Bos made sure that he could defend as well and press. Yeah. Something we didn't know that Ziyech was able to do.
We're willing to do.
He tried Traoré on the number 9 position for 2 months, 3 months, didn't work out, went to the right side, and then all of a sudden he made Dolberg shine. There are so many things that Bos did, putting the pieces together. It took a while in that first season. I agree with that. But if you look at the totality of what he did in such a short time, 1 year, and brought us to Europa League final, something we never thought was possible. And if you look at the players, I mean, now in hindsight, you could say, yeah, he had Frankie de Jong, he had De Ligt. Yeah, he made
that top form, yeah.
He was very young. Frankie was not playing yet. He was on the bench. Van de Beek was still on the bench. We played with Klaassen actually at that time. So he was he had the players, but the players were just about to start. I think the one that benefited the most from those players was Ten Hag.
But Juan,
Yes.
Isn't it true that Bos struggled mostly until that epic cup game against Willem II, where he put all the youngsters and Schöne in the pitch, and they showed him who should be in the first formation. And after that, it became better and better and better, in my opinion. So I think he has a point.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. I'm looking at it differently. I
I
know
don't think
he was trying
I
to
don't-
find the
I don't
perfect.
think he was carried by the team, but I do think he was helped out by the situation in that cup game, where he didn't knew how to really get it, and in that game it clicked.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. It took a while before things clicked.
He
because
understood
was
what to
searching
do.
still.
Yeah,
He was. I'm sorry, Yellan?
to understand what he needed to do.
Exactly. All right.
in my
So
opinion.
I think. Oh wait. So Papimento is saying we only have 18 likes. Come on, guys. The likes can go up a little bit, please. And let me see. All right. So these are the points for now. These are the comments for now, guys. So Yaiderenko, coming back to what you said, right? Something that that made me think after the press conference, and all of you guys can react to that. Also, the people in the comments, is that if you look at the players that we have, right? One of the stories that we've heard the whole season, whether it was Schreuder or it was Heitinga or the media that picked it up as well, this squad is unbalanced. This squad cannot play attacking football. We cannot build up from the back, etc., etc. We have deficiencies in the squad. Maybe, even though they didn't say it in the press conference, but if you think it through, maybe they need a coach realistically like Steijn, because he will get the most out of those players, even though they're not branded Ajax players like we want. So if you can, like, let me give you an example. Let's say Sven talked to Bos, right? Imagine it happened. And Bos would say, we know that Bos wants to play one type of football, and you need players for that, right? Otherwise, it won't fit, it won't go. Let's say that Sven doesn't want that. He doesn't want a coach to come in and just like sweep everything and just start all over, because we still have players that represents value. We have expensive players, high salaries, etc., etc. Maybe he wants to get the most out of the players and transition into that Ajax kind brand of football. What do you guys
What
think?
are you suggesting, Juan? Are you suggesting that we just keep Bessie on the pitch?
Well, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying it could be that Steijn would make Bessie useful in the team.
No,
with a
but
different type of football.
I don't think he will get the chance.
Who will not get a chance? Steijn will not get a chance.
Do you
Why
really?
would you hire him?
Sorry, but do you really believe that in the first games where the pressure is on, when he plays Bessie, it's gonna be all right?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that he can maybe turn those players that have been not so good, let me put it mildly, this season, maybe he can get something out of them. Maybe they can be useful for the team.
But
No?
Juan,
True.
didn't Sven say that like from the start already that we need 7, 8 reinforcements? So either way, it's going to be a sweep. Either way,
No,
Yeah.
but
Players
that's
are going
taking
to
into
leave.
account. That's taking into account that players are leaving as well, like Alvarez.
yeah,
Kudus,
of
etc.
course.
Yeah, but
But next
the
to that, he
situation.
mentioned
But
that
they are.
also.
yeah, they are. They will leave, so
But-
you have to fill it in with either players you have or buy new players.
Whatever we think, it will be a sweep.
And-
Either
and-
way,
and that-
Steijn
and that-
already mentioned players that I don't like will have to leave. Players that I do like will have to be discussed with Sven, and then we're gonna see how we can create space for those players. It's clear it's gonna be a sweep.
What
So
I
gonna have
think
a tough
Juan
job
means
for
is that when there are players that are outside of the first 11 that still can fulfill a purpose in the squad, maybe not as a starting player, but they can still have some value for the team
Look,
if they
the best-
decide to stay.
yeah, the best way to exemplify it, and I have to move away a little bit from Ajax, but if you look at last year, right, where Manchester United was and the team, and how the fans were basically, they wanted every player of United, they wanted them out because they were terrible and horrible. Then Ten Hag comes in. Ten Hag gets a few players, of course. He gets a few players in, but a lot of players that fans wanted out, and they said they have nothing to do with United, they have been performing this season. they have been playing well. They have been showing value. So that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe Steijn can do the same, not to that level maybe, but he can do the same with Ajax.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Erik ten Hag is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving a clear example.
Yeah, I know what
No,
you're
but-
trying to say, but I just think there is no comparison between the two guys. Erik ten Hag will finish his career off and be an elite manager. I'm convinced of that. Maurice Steijn is like a bang average manager in the Eredivisie that has managed small clubs. It's as simple as that. That is the fact.
Until he manages a big
don't
club
forget-
and he gets successes and he becomes champion, etc.
No, but
Then the whole
don't-
narrative
don't-
changes.
No, but don't forget, Juan, all the players that Ten Hag brought in played in the first 11. Almost everybody. Martinez, Varane,
That's not the-
Eriksen,
no, but
Casemiro.
Sahbi-
No, but
Sahbi.
what I'm trying to say is he used the players and created his first 11. That's why he performed. You could see if those players
Casemiro.
were on the bench, they didn't perform that well.
Sahbi.
If you look at Ajax, Schreuder got in many players. The majority of all those players didn't play. They were on the bench.
We're not talking
And
about Steijn
Bergwijn,
here.
who he
But that's
brought
not
in
the
as well.
discussion. That's not the
Didn't-
discussion.
no,
You're
but-
going somewhere
yeah.
else with this. You're going
No, but I
someplace
mean,
else. I'm saying
make a
players-
comparison.
okay, let me be clear. Players like Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Rashford, all those players, they didn't want them. They had a terrible season last season, and this season they were very good. They were one of the
Exactly,
best players.
because of the good players. But that's what I'm saying. Because of those 5-6 good players that are on the pitch, the new players, the other ones could lift on
Christian
quality.
Eriksen, come on. Christian Eriksen, Casemiro, bang, bang, bang.
I mean, if you play those
quality
players,
come on.
of course you will get. I mean, even Bruno Fernandes would play good. Even Rashford would play good with those players on the pitch. And
All right.
that's what
We're
I'm
comparing
saying.
apples and oranges here.
I understand your point. All right. Does anyone want to react to something or add something to the conversation? Otherwise, I'll go to the comments quickly. No one? All right. Everybody's
Just scared.
No, it's fine. Nickname. Steijn won't be able to make Bassi a good passer. He doesn't have a magic wand. Right?
Exactly.
Sure.
I mean, that's a really horrible example of a player we bought who's clearly underperforming. And I have questions about whether he's at the level of Ajax to begin
In
with.
general.
So
Yeah.
why do we keep bringing up this as an example? Because this is clearly
Honestly, you have to buy.
We can also bring up Bergwijn. Same thing.
Sure, I agree with
We
that. But
can bring up
Bergwijn had some proof in the past where he was great. At PSV, he was great, in my opinion.
For
Ranch,
PSV.
Ranch, for instance, Divine
At
Ranch.
PSV, yeah. What do you
Another
mean
example?
for PSV?
I mean, PSV generally plays a totally different ballgame, where the quality of Bergwijn, his speed, comes at play.
Yeah,
And at Ajax, it's just
I
different.
just mean results. Like,
How do you mean?
well, his contributions, goal contributions, assists and stuff. So not necessarily about the playing style, because I feel like that if Bergwijn would have been good enough, he would have been able to make his mark at Ajax as well.
But we also that he has a hard time passing a player one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And at PSV, apparently he gets more chances in the free space and gets more goals. It's I don't think
Which is why I think I tried him as a 10 at the end. But all right, so we're moving away a little bit from the topic. Just in general, just to recap on the whole Steijn thing. If I'm correct, Sahbi, you're saying, look, we signed him. It's a gamble, but we signed him. We have to, support him. Let's hope for the best. That's basically what you're saying. Did I miss something here?
With Maduro backing him, having some Ajax DNA, I think it's something that might work. The strengths of Steijn and the strength of Maduro combined can be something very very powerful.
Yeah, and also
one moment
in the press
Frank
conference,
bringing
just quickly on the press conference as well. This was a couple of times highlighted. That he wants to do it as a team. Everybody, the staff, the players. That's what makes him great. Maurice thinks of himself as somebody that can bring the best out of players around him.
Exactly.
Staff around
That's
him.
lovely, and that's lovely. But there's no basis to assume that it will work out from the start. There's no basis.
But
They
there's
just
also
say he will complete me, You don't know. You haven't worked with him. How can you say he can complete me? You think he has some qualities that can complete you, but you don't know. Maybe you hate the guy.
Okay. Kabir, quickly, just to cap off on this one. You're not convinced, like you said, 6 months and it's over. That's what you're saying? You're sticking by it?
I mean, look, I put it on record here. I would be the first person that would be happily proven wrong. If Maurice Steijn ends up, I've got nothing against the guy. Absolutely not. He's got a once in a chance career opportunity. He's going for it. If he does well, great. You'll never hear me say that, oh, even though he's doing well, but it's not an Ajax DNA. No. If he does well, great. But I do not see it happening. For various reasons already mentioned so far this evening, I just do not see it happening. And I want to be proven wrong, but unfortunately my brain is telling me something different, totally. So I really am very disappointed by this appointment of Maurice Steijn.
So it's a deja vu with Knudsen last week.
Oh, dude, like if we could rewind to last week, Knudsen, man. I mean,
You'd say the same. He said the same.
Yeah, but now I feel like Knudsen would have been a much better choice than a Maurice Steijn because again, that's someone that
But
has
based on what?
based on the fact that he actually has achieved decent results.
He won 7-1 in a match against, who was it? Juventus?
6-1.
Yeah, 6-1 against
Roma. No. Get your facts straight now.
Yeah, 6-1 against Roma, fine. I'm not basing it on that, but you've got someone that actually is at a club now where there's an expectation to perform, and he's delivered on that, and he has experience of managing an European Cup competition. I mean, why are we underestimating all of this? We're Ajax.
We're not.
Not you guys, but generally, like if I look at people that are positive about it, I'm like, we're Ajax. We've hired a guy that has no experience of managing at a club, big club, but also the European aspect.
And I think Yellan is exactly right that he says there's no real basis that you can say that Knudsen will do well at Ajax, but he has at least some experience. Also with the gameplay he plays, it's more towards what Ajax wants to play, and it's not a guarantee for that it will work out better, but it's a more logical choice in my opinion.
I think we should have added Pierre van Hooijdonk to this podcast as well. And asked
Yeah, but that's not. He has beef. He has beef.
Yaiderenko, quickly recap on you were very clear in your opinions. You didn't shy away from it, which is always appreciated. You're not happy with the appointment. That's clear. You would have loved somebody else to come in and maybe a bigger name as well. Maybe somebody who's more closer to what you want to see at Ajax as a coach that wants to play more like Ajax. Is that what I'm like? Look between the lines. Am I correct on this one? Yaiderenko?
Oh, sorry, you were.
Did I summarize it correctly? Did I summarize it correctly? You're not convinced. You're not happy. It's basically not something you hoped for, and you think this will go wrong.
Yeah, it's you can wait until it goes wrong, and if it goes right, if he has results, I don't believe it will be with Ajax gameplay, and if he does do that, I'm not wrong. Nobody's wrong, because then there's a freak miracle that happens which you cannot predict. So in my opinion, it's the wrong choice. It's the wrong way of making a choice, and it's the wrong moment for a choice, because you have the worst season in decades. You really need to rebuild quick. You have 5 base players that are going to leave, so it's quite a tough job. And then you bring in Steijn. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you think you can do that, I think it's more like FIFA, playing FIFA.
What do you mean by that, playing FIFA?
Playing FIFA manager, playing football manager. I get a coach, I get a player, and the player works out. The coach does well.
You know what's funny to me? I mean, you saw the same press conference as we did, right?
Yeah, and they're very eloquent.
Look, Sven basically explained the whole situation, how they arrived at Maurice Steijn. And you're saying, yeah, they just played FIFA, they just hired a coach. That's not how.
But I explained how I didn't believe that Steijn was the first choice, right?
Yeah.
I think that's utter bullshit. What he told, and they did eloquently explain it, but it's air. It's just air. There's no basis to assume that this will go well. You have 3 newbies. Maybe they can get Pierre in to spice up the things.
Stop bringing Pierre to the conversation, man. Okay.
Pierre has never said anything sensible ever.
Yellan, your summary of Steijn, just quickly, 2 sentences, please, so we can move forward.
Yeah, of course. I give you the benefit of the doubt, because if you are going the long route in the rebuild and you're not giving him time, why the hell would you hire him? So there must be some sort of long-term plan in place to have this, and they have to have the faith that he can perform in.
But they were, Yellan, you know one thing though, both Sven separately and also Maurice separately, they both said that this season they want to become champions. So it's not like they were reserved about it to give time and stuff. They have a clear objective. They want to become champions. Even with what you're saying, time, give time, etc. They have.
But that's also, if you look at the amount of new players that have to come in, and they have to be 4 or 5 of them have to be first team ready. So if you buy those players and swap them out for the ones that are leaving, you should get players that are good enough to give you a first for the first team and give you a championship this season. And along those lines, you should be able to rebuild some of the former glory with youth and stuff like that. And I think Maurice is a coach that can grow in this role. So yes, there are 2 criteria. One is being champion this year, and the other one is a rebuild, and that's a long-term process. If he gets the time, who knows? But I think if you hire Maurice in this whole process, you should give him time.
All right, clear. Thank you. Guys, how many likes do we have? If somebody can just tell me. If not, can we get the likes up, please? And we're nearing the end of the show, so we're going to switch topics right now. We talked about Maurice Steijn the whole time. Rightfully so. So, Rolsorkont, you ask, we do, man. That's how it goes. Can we talk about Güler, Arda? Is he a good signing possibility? They're saying we made a bid, a high one. Actually, I wanted to ask you guys, sitting here. So, imagine, right? You have to choose between Arda Güler, who has been priced. I think Fabrizio Romano came with a tweet about 17.5 million, more or less, something like that.
Release clause.
And, I'm sorry?
The release clause.
Yeah, the release clause, and then we have the Armenian player who's been linked to, who plays at Krasnodar, Edward Spertian. I don't know. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce it correctly. Forgive me for that. Who's been valued? There was today a tweet about that 12.5 million, but that's excluding add-ons. So more or less, it's like basically the same price, maybe. So if you guys had to choose between one of those players, imagine. We don't know if Ajax is going to get them, if Ajax is really interested. But if you had to choose between one of the 2, Spertian is 23, Güler is 18, if I'm correct. A bit different players, but still attacking-minded. Who would you go for and why? Let me give it to Yellan first.
I would say Güler, but you want to know why?
Yes, of course.
Of course, yeah. I think he has more of, from what I saw, and it's only on footage. I never actually saw him play a match, but from what I saw, it was that he's quick on the ball. He has a good pass and overview, and I believe that he's an intelligent football player, which we can use on the midfield. To be fair, I don't know much about Spertian, but I also think that the Turkish league might be a little bit of a better quality than the Russian league. I might be wrong, but I think it's a little bit better. So, and he's widely regarded across Europe at the top club. So, but I also heard that that his father is his agent, so that could be, and that he also snubbed Liverpool in the past, and that they snubbed the first terms of Ajax, so they rejected the first terms. But then another side said that that they made another offer or something. So it's a soap, but I would choose Güler.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Yaiderenko?
Yeah. Well, what can I say? If you choose Pettersson over Guller, then the discussion ends pretty quickly for me.
It's not a debate for you. It's not even worth discussing. That's what you're saying.
No, in my opinion, Goulet is already miles ahead of Pettersson, and he's 5 years younger. So Pettersson will probably be an overperformer according to Sven, but I would go for Goulet.
Okay. Sahbi?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Yellan and with Yaiderenko, man. Guler, it's he's got that flair that reminds me of. He gives me like the Özil vibes, with those touches, those passes which he gives a lot. We saw lately one on Twitter, but I saw many of those. I think he can be. He's like a real gem, you know, a player that you invest in, and you will get the profit triple, four, 5 times more than what you are paying for him. And in Turkey, yeah, they play technical football, and Fenerbahce plays attacking and a bit of technical football. If you compare it with Krasnodar, which is more defensive, I think he would fit more with the Ajax playing style than Spezian. Not saying Spezian is a bad player. Maybe we should get them both. Why not?
Maybe.
It's the same price as Bergwijn, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Combined.
Look, yeah,
Exactly.
Just remind me what you just said. Maybe we can get them both, because there was a question about our finances. There was something today published by the VE. Just quickly on that. But Kabir, you first, just on the Guller or Spezian choice.
No, I actually saw a comment that Roy made. I think he hit the nail on the head. If you want instant results, you're looking at a Spezian. If you're looking for long-term, yeah, you want a prospect, you're looking at Guller. I think that, Guller is, we already signed someone like a Conceição from Porto, predominantly played in young Ajax. I could see the same route with the Guller as well. We signed this other young Turkish guy, Kapıcılan, as well, and I know he got injured, but there was, so it depends what we want.
Not agreeing.
I'm
not agreeing with you. I think if you get Goulet right now, he will show you that he is the talent of Europe.
Me too.
Immediately, not Spezian. I think Goulet will fit perfectly.
The difference with,
I even think that Goulet could help out Steijn in performing well if they get him.
Yeah,
Can I
but
add something else? Oh,
we're
sorry.
talking
Go
about
ahead.
realistic targets as well, right? Because like the latest reports were saying that like the deal has been pulled because of these last minute requests that the father has put in, and
That's what I was
a
gonna talk
certain
about.
amount of minutes. Then the release clause is 8 million. So I mean, are we talking realistic or are we talking like fantasy? Who would we rather want? Because I think the more realistic prospect at this stage is Pettersson.
But can I add something to that? Because at the one side you have Goulet, if I pronounce it correctly, and his father and an agent is usually never a good combination. So if we want to develop him, what's going to happen in 2-3 years when he's made his mark and he wants to leave? If he is already very difficult in negotiations now, what will happen later on? But that's like a bit of a negative thought, obviously, but we have to consider it. And Spezian really said in the last match of Krasnodar, Ajax, I've never heard of the interest in me, and he was basically dismissing the idea of going to Ajax from what I read about it. So either they want to come or they don't want to come. So what's the big deal here?
There's
Why
no
is
big
it
deal.
so
We're just talking. That's it.
No, I mean, but
So,
like, why are they not jumping at the opportunity to come to Ajax? Or is this really the state that we are in right now?
Well, you know how it works, right, guys? I mean, everybody knows nowadays how it works. Agents also work that way, that they want to hype their players. So sometimes random clubs are being mentioned that are, that gives the player a little bit of a high likability, or that a lot of players chasing him to drive up the value and these kind of things. All sales tactic, So we never know for sure unless it's like a reputable source. but we haven't seen a reputable source actually link Ajax with either of those two players, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So in that sense, I agree with you. I'm sorry?
No, that's true.
All
But
transfers, but it's not not always reputable. Sorry, go ahead, Sahbi.
no, but I mean, we saw there were not even rumors, but pictures of the father or the family being in Amsterdam. I can't imagine they came here for a holiday.
They probably got
Um,
family in Amsterdam, man.
Yeah, well,
They spoke.
well,
Mislintat said they spoke.
possible. It's possible. It's possible.
Okay.
But
All right.
but what I was trying to say is, as you said, Juan, Fabrizio mentioned twice a tweet whereby he stated Güler is for sale for 17.5 million. It's clearly somebody paid him to bring that out because it doesn't have any added value for him to bring that out on Twitter twice, mentioning the price and stating that he is a real gem and so on and so on.
You're dissing Fabrizio, man?
I'm not dissing Fabrizio. I'm saying he got his money from one of those parties, probably one of the agents, and it's a good thing for him. They try to sell him to the highest bidder or to one of the bigger clubs. But from what I see, if you compare Spezia with Güler, the top clubs are after Güler more than after Spezia. So,
but the better question is, who let him play 47 minutes over his release clause? That is really dumb because his release clause was triggered at 1,500 minutes, and they played him for 1,547.
Yeah, but otherwise, the release clause will be
lower. Yeah.
Otherwise, we found
someone said on Twitter that it would be higher.
It's really
smart. They were hoping. They were hoping for 5 million, but Fenerbahce was smart enough to give him playing time. Although
they even played extra time.
But he earned his playing time.
It reminds me of the situation with Griezmann last year. With he was playing like he was getting subbed off after 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going through the comments just one more time, and then we'll end the show with one final topic. Roy is saying, now you guys are really selling Spurgeon short. You haven't watched either him play enough. If you say that Spurgeon is miles ahead of Güler. Güler is a great talent, but not consistent yet, basically. Let me see. This is an interesting comment from a Stuttgart fan, DNNY. Thank you so much for your comment. As a Stuttgart supporter, the whole discussion reminds me of the time when Sven arrived at
VfB.
Yeah, Stuttgart. Now I miss him more than my ex-girlfriend. Lol. Trust the process, guys.
Exactly. Trust.
So yeah, man. I mean, we have to trust the process, basically. All right. What else do we have?
That's what. Yeah, we don't need Güler. We have Conceição. I'm of a similar mindset.
But Conceição is
Güler is a 10, eh?
No, but in the sense that someone who is young and someone who is, again,
then you have Missouri.
Yeah.
He's 17.
I look at positions. I mean, Güler can play on the wing, but he plays at best on the 10 position.
Yeah.
And there is Klaassen at this moment, which most likely will leave or be on the bench.
He will go to Galatasaray.
Yeah. and we need creativity. Klaassen is no creativity on the pitch.
All right, guys. Final point I wanted to address to you guys and also the people in the comments. Everybody watching about Edson Alvarez, right? This is a little bit of news coming here and there. So the situation is basically that Dortmund they want him. According to reports, they were waiting for Bellingham to be finalized, a deal to be finalized with Madrid, which happened actually, and then they will prepare a bid. There were rumors about that Dortmund offered 35 million and Ajax wants 45 million, but that was basically debunked by Mike Ferrey. There is no offer yet. It has to come. But there is confirmation that West Ham United also wants Edson Alvarez because Declan Rice is maybe leaving to Arsenal. So my question to you is, apart from the fact that we won the most money, which makes total sense, I know this from a financial point of view, but if you were to advise Edson Alvarez where to go, would you rather advise him to go to West Ham United or would you rather advise him to go to Dortmund? And please, the reason behind this as well. Yellan, you go first, please.
Sure. I would say West Ham because he's more comparable to Declan Rice than he is to Jude Bellingham, in my opinion. So I think that he would suit better at West Ham and he would have a chance to slot into the first team quicker.
Okay, Yaiderenko?
Same, exactly the same.
All right, Kabir.
Yeah, West Ham, 100%. His style of play will suit the Premier League to a T, and also at a club like West Ham. 100%. He's a West Ham type player versus the Borussia.
Sahbi is not agreeing.
No, I'm not agreeing. No,
I'm
I
not
would go for
agreeing
Dortmund.
either. I'm not agreeing either. But I'm
No.
just saying.
No,
I'm not saying anything.
I'm
Go ahead.
100%. I would 100% say Dortmund, because the Premier League, the intensity of the Premier League is just way too high for him. You can't see him running all over the pitch as a box-to-box midfielder. He doesn't have that pace. At Dortmund, the intensity is a bit lower. That team is a combined team of experienced players and young players, exactly the same as what we have at Ajax. But also the type of play they play at Dortmund is a bit comparable with how they play at Ajax. So it would be easier for him to blend in at Dortmund. Within West Ham, the way West Ham plays, I don't see him playing great matches there. I mean, you can compare Declan Rice with Alvarez, but Declan Rice is known, is used to play that level from I don't know what age. Alvarez, he already had difficulties with the intensity in the Eredivisie at the start, and now with such a huge price that the club will pay, they want results, and you won't see that directly at West Ham. You would see it more. The chances that he would fit in more would be at Dortmund than with West Ham.
But I just want to
I don't know,
say,
Juan.
when you say Dortmund seems like a more natural fit because it's more suited to similar to the Ajax style of play. One of the biggest.
I didn't say anything, man. I
No,
was
no,
saying
no.
the whole time.
No, but if you compare it, if you
Yeah.
compare it with West Ham, Dortmund
But
is more comparable with Ajax than West Ham.
But the thing is that one of the things that Alvarez always had was about the fact that he wasn't an Ajax player, and the only thing he brought to the game was the getting rid of the ball and giving it to.
No, but he developed way better this last seasons, especially
But
this season.
But
I
he's
mean,
He still needs to just get the ball and give
Yeah.
it to someone who can pass.
To a West Ham like a T.
yeah,
Get
but
the-
I mean,
break
if you
it
see
down,
Declan
pass it
Rice,
to him.
he doesn't get the ball, and then he is more of a controlling. He's a box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah, but it's not a comparison between the two.
it's
One
not
is
a-
leaving and the
No,
other
but
one is
it's-
slotting in.
No,
And
but
they
you
have to
compared
have other
it.
players that
It's
carry
more
the
like
ball.
West Ham United. He said he
Yeah,
fits
but
more
if
with West Ham
that's the
United, so
case-
that's why I'm.
They're not looking to replace Bellingham with it's not.
No, not at all. But the way Dortmund plays is actually a bit as the way Ajax plays, and it's if you look at West Ham, it's
Not really.
totally different. Totally different.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Oh
wouldn't
no,
that
Juan,
fit
let me
him better?
hear your thought. Huh?
Sahbi, wouldn't that fit him better? Because he isn't the quality player that we're looking for at Ajax, at least not on the creative
not-
part. Not on the
Yeah.
creative
Well,
part.
he is one of the players that he would truly be missed at Ajax at this moment.
Yeah, but that says more about the state of Ajax than it says about
I don't know.
the quality of Alvarez, in my opinion.
No, because Ajax, when they played well, he was playing good as well, and mainly
but
because of him.
We also saw terrible games from him this season, and the same with Tadic. So it's
Yeah,
not.
I mean,
it's
Bellingham
not
had
one
It's the
terrible
Dutch
games as
league.
well.
It's not
Declan
comparable
Rice
to
had
either the
terrible games as
Bundesliga or
well.
Premier League. So
Sorry.
it is the
All
Dutch
right, so
league. It's
guys-
neither comparable to the Premier League or the Bundesliga. So
All right. So
No,
this
but
is a
Europe
little
is.
bit- the majority
Europe
is
is.
saying West Ham United here on the panel, and some people agree with you guys on the West Ham part. Some people agree with Sahbi on the Dortmund part. I just wanna. I said it was the last one, but you guys know me by now. It's never the last one. So this is the last comment. Just quickly, I will ask you guys. We'll go and then we finish the live stream. Lewis just was curious as to. Can you guys name 5 players? So let's assume 5 players, just to go with the question. 5 players you would replace in the starting 11, and why? So this is from the top of our head, just quickly. 5 players that were starting 11 last season that you would replace going into next season. You only have to mention the names of the players you want to replace. That's it. Let me start with Kabir.
Starting 11. Well, different starting 11s at various points in the season, right? But obviously, you would look at players that are, for instance, the Bassi.
But wait, he didn't play. He didn't play at the end. No. We're talking about 11, the starting 11.
But he played.
He
played a lot.
did. Bassi is definitely in the list, 100%. Bassi.
Bro, but Heitinga didn't use Bassi, bro. That's not a fair.
No, but Schreuder did.
Schreuder talking about at the end. That's much more representable.
Okay, rephrase, Juan.
No,
rephrase your question.
You mean
starting
under
11
Heitinga?
This is very clear.
Of the Heitinga era.
Of a starting 11.
You guys saw Ajax play until the end of the season, right? You're not going to get somebody out of the team that was playing 6 months ago. Come on, bro. Seriously. No, but seriously, we're talking about how it ended. So the starting 11, more or less how it was at the end. Last 4 games. Okay, so who would you replace? Starting 11.
Wijndal. Brobies.
Broby.
Bergwijn.
It has to be 5. Okay, Bergwijn, yes.
Kenneth Taylor. And I would even say the keeper, Rulli.
All right. You could have made it easier for yourself and just say, well, we know that Kudus is leaving. We know that Timber is leaving. We know that Edson is leaving.
No.
You said, do you want to replace?
They're not done yet, bro. You're not
cheating. You're cheating, Juan.
You're not
cheating. You got it wrong. It's who do you want to replace?
Yes.
Exactly.
All right, fine. I'll give you that one, bro. I'll give you that one.
Not who are going to be replaced.
Oh,
yes,
all right. My mistake. I apologize. You guys are right. Sahbi, what about you?
First in mind, Wijndal, left back, Range, right back. Do you consider Klaas a starter? Because
for you, I consider it, man. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not fair. Klaas wasn't starting at the end.
What is
He was
happening?
stepping, but
Guys, we're just answering a question to Lewis. I think he appreciates this. So just let's go.
Bergwijn.
Yes.
Twice.
How much do I have now?
2.
4.
Okay.
Bergwijn. Come on.
2.
Okay. Kudus. I would keep Kudus. Keep Broby.
No 5 for you?
I would. It's. I mean Sanchez, but Sanchez, I don't consider him starter, or do we?
No.
Sanchez.
For you, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Heitinga played him, Played him a lot.
That's
True.
the thing. He got played. So Bassi as well, 100%.
Sorry,
Well, not
Kabir.
on the
all right.
Heitinga,
All right, but you know
those
what?
would be
I'm
my
a bit harsh on Kabir after his remark about Solskjaer last week. I'm pushing you a little
How
bit.
you would have preferred Solskjaer? I'm gonna say it.
You would
It's gonna come on Twitter. It's gonna
Maurice
come on
Steijn.
Twitter.
You would prefer Solskjaer over Maurice Steijn.
Steijn.
All right.
Solskjaer
Yeah, I
over
think as well.
I'm gonna hashtag that Solskjaer over Stein.
It's not fair, but I want to end the show right now. But no, it's not fair to Yellan and Yaiderenko. Yellan, what about you? 5 players.
All right. Quickly. Taylor, Range, Broby, Bergwijn, Berghuis.
Nice. Yaiderenko?
Tadic, Bergwijn.
You're going to just diss
Broby,
Tadic like that? Or
Alvarez.
MVP 5 years consecutively, best game ever played in Madrid? You're just going to toss him like that?
Can I finish?
Just,
Can I finish? Maybe.
Yeah, all right.
Can I finish?
All right. That's fine.
God damn. Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not because he's bad, but that's because I think Vos could be a gem for the coming seasons. And Wijndal. Terrible player.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
10 million.
You know what? If you come on the TV, sorry, just wanted to say that if you give an interview and you say that I think that we have the best left side of the whole of Europe,
It was, but
seriously. Even LeBron James wouldn't say that me and Anthony Davis are the best pairing in the NBA.
That's not true because LeBron. No, that's not true. LeBron James actually said he's the GOAT.
But he's probably the one guy that said it.
No. You cannot compare because LeBron said publicly there were cameras rolling. I consider myself the GOAT.
I think Zlatan has a different opinion.
I'm sorry?
I think Zlatan has a different opinion about the GOATs and LeBron James.
Probably, yes. But you know what? Listen, what Wendell said was a little bit of a joke, in my opinion.
He shot himself.
I'm sorry?
I said I personally think that he has, when he gave that interview, he ended his Ajax career there and then. Because if you say something like that, the least you can do is perform at a high level consistently, and that's fine. But if you say something like that, you are either living in a delusional world, or you are. Well, I don't want to give the second option. But
can't you assist them, Kabir, and tell them how it is?
What in terms of how? What do you mean?
No, just join the three. You don't have any experience, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Basically, Yaiderenko is saying, you know what? Go work with the technical.
It's all new for you too. So
yeah, why not?
He has something.
You can look. We know from experience you're a great chef, right? So
this is what I told Martinez. Martinez always wanted high protein diet because he said,
of course. Of course. All right, guys. Enough of this. Thank you so much. Sorry for being late today, guys. We'll pay attention to it in the future. We'll see you guys next week again, 8 o'clock this time, on time. Yellan Yaiderenko, Sahbi, Kabir. Thank you so much for joining the stream, guys. Let's see how it goes. We will start the season at the end of the month, and then we'll take it from there, bit by bit. And let's see, maybe Steijn is much better than Slot, much better than Bos, much better than Janse, and we'll all be saying to ourselves, looking back at this video, like, oh man, we were so wrong.
It can't be less than Schreuder. It can't be less than Schreuder.
Clip that.
Clip that.
It can't be worse. It can't be worse than Schreuder.
Maybe
and then you wake up.
Mislintat is actually Einstein.
Very good.
That's a good
Nice one.
good thing.
All right, see you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.